Now more than ever, streaming and content creation are on the rise. Heck, everyone is a content creator these days. And with that, the rise of streamer/creator branded products are hitting the market faster than ever. And well, today we're talking about the Logitech Blue Sona, probably my favorite microphone I've ever used for streaming. What is up, guys? My name is Tyler, and today we're going to talk a bit about streaming and content creation as it pertains to microphones, and more specifically, the Logitech Blue Sona. Now, before we dive into this, Logitech did send me the Sona to review, but no money changed hands, and Logitech did not get to view this video before it was uploaded. That being said, I f***ing love this microphone. Quite frankly, there's very little I don't like about it. Let me explain. So for those of you who don't know, Blue Microphones was acquired by Logitech. This means the legendary Blue Yeti and Snowball now have joined the Logitech family, and since then, the Sona was born. If you've used an original Yeti, then you've been around a bit and you know that back then, they were pretty much the premier microphone for streaming, especially given the fact that the Yeti was USB. Now, the Sona is not USB, and quite frankly, in 2023, that's probably one of its best features. Now, more than ever, most streamers and creators are using an audio interface like a Go XLR or a Focusrite Scarlett. If you don't know what I'm talking about, which is totally fine, basically an audio interface allows you to connect a special kind of microphone or even an instrument through a variety of input options. In this case, we're talking about XLR, which many of you have heard of, but do you actually know what it means and why we use it? All right, so let's take a quick detour. XLR essentially is a connector type with a variety of uses, but in this case, we'll stick to XLR3, which is a 3-pin style connector commonly used for, again in this case, dynamic microphones. There is also an XLR4, 5, 6, and 7 connector, which are used for anything between communication devices or even DMX controlled lighting equipment. Heck, even my Godox VL150 uses a 4-pin XLR cable. If you've ever been backstage at a show, you'll see all kinds of XLR cables in use, but most commonly, you'll see XLR3. The number usually equates to the pin count. The more pins, usually the more capability, but we're keeping it super simple here, so don't worry too much about it. Okay, so back to the Sona. Right off the bat, since the Sona is XLR3, that means we're getting a balanced signal from the microphone. So why not just use USB? Well, USB-controlled audio is very limited in what it can do and often is limited to only a single source of input at a time on your computer. USB devices are also much more susceptible to interference such as crosstalk, ground loop noise, and/or EMI and RFI, which XLR is much less susceptible to. So if you watch my video on the Rode XDM100, which is a USB-type microphone, you'll hear me complain that it often had a buzzing noise, which upon further investigation likely has to do with the fact that it's USB-driven and likely was due to ground loop noise. So TLDR, using an XLR-based audio input device is going to provide you with cleaner and more balanced audio, which in turn means you sound better to your audience and to yourself on stream. This is also why you usually pay a bit more for XLR mics. The key thing to remember is that XLR provides balanced audio, whereas USB does not. Therefore, almost in any case, an XLR input signal is going to sound better by default and have much less noise and distortion. However, the trade-off is that XLR inputs require an additional power source via phantom power, which comes in either 24 volt or 48 volt, to keep things simple. Phantom power basically is how electricity is delivered to your microphone. In the case of XLR, phantom power delivers direct current, or DC, equally through 2 signal lines, pins 2 and 3 on your 3-pin XLR cable, thus giving you your balanced audio. The same cannot be said for USB. Now, I'm not going to dive into the rabbit hole with all this, especially because I'm no electrical engineer or audio engineer, but this is why we use an audio interface to power our XLR mics. The Blue Sona can handle both 24 volt and 48 volt phantom power, meaning most audio interfaces will work just fine. Whew. Bit of a trip, I know, but I feel like it's important to explain this as many streamers and creators often just buy what is recommended but don't always understand why these things are important and what these terms actually mean. Now that you know, you can understand why something like the Sona is going to beat any USB-driven microphone simply due to the science and nothing else. That being said, XLR mics can't just be plugged into your PC. You'll need an audio interface, as previously mentioned. But I'll save that for another video, so if you like that sort of thing, make sure to hit the like button and remember to subscribe, as I'd love to introduce more scientific facts in my reviews. All right, enough distractions. Let's talk Sona now. The Sona is a beautifully crafted dynamic microphone that, you guessed it, is powered via XLR3. It comes in white or graphite and even comes with a super cool magnetic replaceable windscreen. It even comes with a red one in the box, which is honestly fire. The majority of the mic is made from what seems to be aluminum, but it's definitely painted because it feels super premium and that white paint just glistens in the light and it's just really nice to look at, which honestly is super important, especially if your mic is visible on stream and you want to maintain a certain aesthetic. 10 out of 10 on design in my opinion. It's also pretty lightweight, so it'll easily sit on your mic arm without sagging or causing any strain on your arm. And since it has an internal shock mount, the overall size of the Sona is honestly perfect. It's about as big as the popular Shure SM7B and is a good size for large hands if you need to reposition the mic during your stream but won't make a bunch of noise due to its internal shock mount, secondary diaphragm, and humbucking coil. If you have absolutely no idea what I just said, don't worry about it. This also means you won't get any buzzing or distortion from your lights and monitors because yes, that is a thing. As for the mounting solution, it's a super simple design with a single mount that makes adjusting the mic an absolute breeze. I love this little knob here. It tightens and loosens, giving you more or less flexibility when positioning the mic for optimal capture, which I should mention, the Sona has a hypercardioid pattern, meaning the area where it picks up your voice is very narrow and directional. As a result, any noise coming from anywhere outside the cone is almost completely negated, which means less digital adjustment and more pure quality sound, which in my opinion is a win, especially if you're not privy to messing with audio settings and want a more plug and play setup. As for mounting to an arm, it's a standard mounting solution, so it should fit any standard mic arm and even includes an adapter, just in case. Probably one of my only minor gripes with this mic is the mounting to an arm. Sometimes instead of using the built-in mount, it loosens itself from the arm itself. Not a huge deal as a lot of mics do this, but can still be annoying when you go to make a quick adjustment and end up loosening your mic instead. One little secret feature of the Sona is the little hidden magnetic panel on the bottom. Yep, it comes off. Not only to reveal two useful audio adjustments, but also to allow you to rotate the Logitech logo around to match your setup, kind of like what the PS2 did way back in the day. A nice little detail. As for the two audio controls, you get a simple bass cut and a presence toggle. These are hardware adjustments, so I recommend using these before making digital adjustments in your mixing software if you use one to avoid any doubling up or excessive effects on your input. I personally find that just the presence sounds good for my voice, but everyone's voice is a little different, so play around with it until you find a good spot or leave them off completely and make adjustments in your mixing software. As far as setup goes, it's really just as simple as plugging it in and using it. Something Rode claimed on the XTM100 that personally I didn't find to be true at all. But here with the Sona, so long as you already have an audio interface set up, just plug in the XLR cable and boom, Sona installed. No software needed, and to be honest, less software is better in my opinion. Now, the thunder is crazy out there. Now, if you want to make adjustments, of course you can use a mixing software, but in my experience, the Sona sounds great out of the box with no tuning or adjustments, and that's probably my favorite part about it. Coming from a frustrating experience with the XTM100, the Sona was a breath of fresh air, and since it's XLR, I no longer get that buzzing in my headphones that I was getting with the XTM100, which let me tell you was driving me mad. Now to be fair, you may not experience buzzing with a USB mic. It's going to depend on what's surrounding your microphone and what other equipment you're using. In my case, there must have been something causing the buzzing that unfortunately I couldn't seem to remove. But again, that's why we use XLR. In terms of sound performance, I'll let you guys make the call yourself. I'll finish the video using the Blue Sona and you can hear the difference between it and the Octava MK12. Now, I don't recommend holding the mic when recording, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I'll just hold on to it, but please use a mic arm. Also, this will be a great test of the hypercardioid pattern because it is literally lightning and thunderstorming behind me. So if you can't hear the thunder, well, you can't hear lightning, but if you can't hear the thunder, then it's doing a good job. In terms of plosives, which is, if you didn't know, are the little puffs of air when you say words that start with P or B that some mics don't handle well without a pop filter, the Sona handles them pretty well. Trust me, back when I started streaming, I had an original Blue Yeti strapped to an Amazon Basics mic arm with an external pop filter clipped on it, and my God, was it atrocious. Mics have gotten a lot better since then. S's also sound clear without much, if any, distortion or horrible hissing noises, which again is important, especially depending on how you particularly articulate your speech. These are all things to consider when buying a mic. Not just the quality, but how they will reproduce your unique voice. So keep that in mind when shopping for mics. There's no one mic to rule them all, so be sure to keep track of which mics make you sound your best. And in my case, I really like the way the Octava makes me sound, just like I like the way the Sona makes me sound. This may not be the case for you, so make sure to try a few options if you can before spending the money. Expensive does not always mean better when it comes to mics. As far as the hypercardioid pattern goes, I'm going to leave the mic right here and walk behind it so you guys can see how much work this mic puts in to remove background noise with no extra filters. Here I am talking behind the microphone now. I'm sure you can hear me a little bit. It is raining hardcore outside. This just in, it is thunderstorming. It is How was that? Is it good? Is it raining? Can you see the rain? So in the end, the Logitech Blue Sona is a solidly built, amazing looking dynamic microphone that is simply a purely good sounding microphone. It needs no software or add-in bits, minus the audio interface, to sound good and is easy to use even for first-time XLR users. It comes in at $350, which I personally think is a solid price for this unit for what it offers. It's about $100 more than the XTM100, but honestly, in my opinion, if you want to take your streaming and content creation business seriously, a solid microphone is probably the best early investment to make, especially since microphones usually age well. Since the Sona uses XLR, it'll likely have a much longer life cycle than a USB mic. Heck, there are microphones still in use today that have been for decades. So I say spend the extra $100 and get yourself a solid XLR mic and interface because it'll likely last you much longer than any USB mic. But that's going to be it for the Logitech Blue Sona. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button, and as always, make sure to subscribe to see more videos like this. You can also follow me on Twitter to stay up to date on all the things. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And this just in, it is hardcore raining outside, more at 11. Did I put my windows up in my car?